This Sunday before we celebrate Nativity tomorrow, we hear the genealogy, the origins of Jesus Christ, his lineage, his ancestry, genealogy. In the book of Matthew, we hear it going all the way back to Abraham, through David, down to Joseph. And the genealogy in Hebrew tradition is always kept through the father's lineage. And so this is why we hear into Joseph's side, even though Joseph is not Christ's earthly father. But we know that Joseph is betrothed to Mary, and in Hebrew tradition, you only marry within your own tribe. So in order to be betrothed to Joseph, Mary had to be of the seed of David as well, the lineage of David. And this is how the prophecy of Christ being from the seed of David is fulfilled. And through David's blood, the Messiah would come. And we hear this kind of in the book of Matthew as a genealogy for Hebrew years. They wanted to hear that their Messiah was of their people, of their faith, of the faith of Abraham. In the book of Luke, however, if we were to read that, we know that his genealogy goes all the way back to Adam. He places Christ in relation all the way back to the first man, Adam. So it's more universal in picture. But either way, we hear about Christ's family today. And in that lineage, there is quite a few different people, some righteous, some sinful. We could go through each one of them and have a great Bible study of each character in there. But all of them did not know God's plan before it. They had no idea that who they were and what they were doing would bring forth the seed of Christ one day. We hear it was 14 generations upon 14 generations upon 14 generations. In their lives, they did not know that God was working in them, through them. Whether they were righteous or sinful, God had a plan for each one of them to help fulfill the coming of the Messiah. And they had no idea. They had no idea that was coming. And so, too, in our lives, we really don't know God, how He's working in our lives. Just like all that genealogy we heard, those people were living their lives. And they did not know the great things God had in store for them and for the race of man. God did not abandon them, even though they did not see the fulfillment of the Messiah in their own lives. The coming of Christ, His nativity, changed the entire world. And in fact, those righteous before Him were now in heaven with Him, are now dwelling in the mold of Abraham and Jacob and Isaac. They're awaiting the Messiah there with them. And so they too are now to see the fruits of the nativity of Christ. And likewise, we too will see the fruits of that. We do not have the blood of Christ in us. We do not have His lineage. And you often hear, I've heard this saying go right up, that blood is thicker than water. We've heard this, right? And it means that as family we stick together, that we're blood, we need to stick together, we need to back each other up, that we need to be closer than people who are not of the family, who are not, if they're just friends, or they should not mean more to us than our family. That's what this saying means. But in the eyes of God, this is not the case. In fact, water is thicker than blood in the spiritual realm. Because each one of us, now that Christ has come and has established His church through His life and all His ministry, have been baptized in water. We have been baptized with water and Spirit. And now we can all call upon God as truly our Father, as Abba Fathers, who will give an epistle tomorrow for Nativity. And that our bond in the baptismal font brings us to be family. And it's closer than even blood. Some of us have family that are not of the church, and we love them and we're dear with them. But our closeness within the walls of the church is much thicker, much more special. It should bind us together because we are truly family of God within His house, the house of God. And so water is much thicker than blood, brothers and sisters. We need to stick together, and we need to enjoy the grace that God has given to us as a community in His name. So all those ancestors of Christ, what a great honor they might have had, whether they know it or not. They have that honor of hearing their names pronounced in the Gospels today. But we have the honor of being able to call upon God the Father's Abba, because Christ, His Son, came and was born into this earth. And now, in His name, we're baptized. We're all brothers with Christ, and we have God the Father as our true Father, adopted in spirit. And water and spirit is much more thicker than blood. We don't have earthly measurements. We have spiritual, heavenly measurements on our unity together, brothers and sisters. So as we prepare for the coming of the Nativity of Christ that we celebrate tomorrow, let us all prepare in spirit so that we can, as a community, receive the body and blood of Christ, and we can enjoy the peace that his nativity has brought to the earth, and prepare fully for that joy that will be in our hearts for the next coming weeks as we celebrate and sing the hymns of the Nativity. In the name of God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.